TNA Wrestling crosses the line again with another action-packed episode of TNA Impact. We will get into that very, very shortly, but first, we're just 4 weeks away from TNA Emergence, August the 30th. And the news about that particular show is that TNA are bringing back Ultimate X as a part of that show. For those of you that do not know what Ultimate X is, it is a thrill a minute match where the X division or the X is hanging above, I suppose, up with a cordon of an X across the ring, and you've got to grab it and bring it down. And those matches never ever disappoint. Will we see any WWE crossovers in that match as well? It is going to be an exciting time in just 4 weeks' time. Emergence. Ultimate X returns, and there'll be a lot more matches announced of that in due course, I am sure. First things first, Impact Wrestling kicked off with a crazy, exciting six-man tag team match. Speaking of crossovers, Wes Lee was reunited again with the Rascals, and they actually defeated Speedball Mountain to Mike Bailey and Trent's the X Division champion Mike Bailey and Trent Seven, as well as Kushida, in a fast-paced, action-packed six-man tag team action. It was a very fun match. I mean, we have said before on this, start the night off hot, and they did that in abundance. There was great tag teams that were flying around everywhere as well. You had so much in this. They had this massive triple team spot, did the Rascals, and Miguel hits his diving splash onto Kushida and Bailey on the floor. And then Lee and Zachary went to hit a double team high flyer flame on Seven in the middle of the ring to pick up the victory. But what a way to start Impact Wrestling. It was great, and I loved every minute of this match. These six guys are brilliantly talented, extremely talented, fun way to kick off Impact. And again, we will say this every week, the WWE crossover is working amazingly well for TNA as well as the WWE. That is for sure. We did see the Great American Bash graphic on the screen because their Rascals will be in action next week. And if you haven't seen the Joe Hendry concert from NXT's Great American Bash, go ahead and watch that as well as the match next week between Joe Hendry and Joe Coffin as well. Now we're shifting straight gears back to Jordan Grace, who once again has issued an open challenge for next week on Impact Wrestling. Whew. Who is this one going to be? Obviously, she's just beaten Ash by Elegance at the Slammiversary show. Who is going to step up? Is it going to be someone from TNA? Is it going to be somebody from NXT? Is it going to be someone that we don't even know of? Who's going to step up and take on the juggernaut next week on TNA? I don't know, but I want to know. So next week's Impact can't come around quick enough. I am so looking forward to it. But Jordan Gray's been on the run of her career with a championship. WWE obviously loves her. Now, there's obviously talk because her contract is up in January, I believe, of next year. Yeah, will we see, if she goes to WWE, or will she stay in TNA? Will she even go to AEW? Who knows? But whoever she goes with, they've got an absolute blue chipper there. I'm sure WWE will be all over getting Jordan Grace on board full time, and they still work with TNA, of course, as per partnership. But who is going to be the challenger next week? We will have to wait and see. Now, campaign C. Well, Ali obviously lost the X Division Championship. But it was meant to be an interview with Mustafa Ali talking about the TNA Championship main event match. But Singh is on the phone with Ali. Singh frantically talks about how he will prove his loyalty to the campaign and his credibility tonight. He does appear nervous about how he's meant to do that. I'm not surprised because we'll talk about it now. Because he calls out, and I think it's for next week, Mike Santana, of all people, to call out for your match for a match at TNA, you called out Mike Santana, you silly sausage. Campaign saying, what are you doing? That may be a way to prove your loyalty, but that is a way of getting a hell of an arse kicking. Potentially, as I said, I think that match is next week against Mike Santana. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, we return back to the Impact Zone. Now, Ash by Elegance is watching on with the concierge. And this is Rosemary's return. She's looking different color hair. And she's got a person, Chris Starter, I think her name is. She's beating her down. She lets out a scream. She hits. I mean, this was a cup of coffee match, and it was over. She hit the finish to pick up a victory. Quick and basic. She head out to the ringside area. She grabs a knapsack and hands it back into the squared circle, and it is a black rose, and she lays it across the arms over. She lays it on her chest, Kristen, and crosses her arms over it. And Ash by Elegance was shown watching the match backstage. Rosemary, I love Rose. I mean, she's a great character. She plays the character so well. The new one is, it's in its early doors, a new character, but seemingly Ash by Elegance has a problem with Rosemary. I don't think Rosemary's the right person to pick a problem with. I know that she was trying to stab concierge a couple of weeks ago. Nevertheless, Ash by Elegance, seemingly a bit like Mike Santana, a bit like Campaign Singh here. I think you're barking up the wrong tree if you're going after Rosemary. I wouldn't recommend it for your health. That is for sure. We always see that match. Could that be an Emergence on August the 30th? We'll find out. But don't forget, you can check out all of the action on TNA on the TNA Plus app. Also on AXS TV over in the States, and DAZN over here in the good old United Kingdom. The System were backstage next. They've had a rough couple of weeks, losing a lot of gold. Only Alicia Edwards now opens it. They are still wearing the whole gear that they wore on last week's show, fun enough. But each member takes it in turns, and they speak to the camera about how the group may have been dealt with a blow, but they are still the most dominant force in professional wrestling, and they will show you why you must trust the System. Well, we shall see on this. I'm pretty sure that will be that the System will be back to their usual destructive selves very, very soon. They have had a rough few weeks, losing the championships at Slammiversary, of course. So the System needs to regroup. I'm pretty sure that they have, but we will see what happens with the System. As I said, they've lost all the gold barring one, and they're going to have to try and get it back, because otherwise the System could be rendered obsolete. You know where I'm coming from on that one. Back into the Impact Zone we go. Josh Alexander comes out, but he doesn't come out. He's introduced, but he doesn't come out. He's introduced again, doesn't come out. Then they say that Gia Miller is backstage with him, and a fired up Alexander talks to her and said doesn't care what he's supposed to be doing. He will talk right here. And he was ranting about people who believe in Joe Hendry, but it's actually the walking weapon, has carried TNA on his back for years, and once again didn't give us any insight as to why he attacked the prestigious Joe Hendry last week. What is going on with that walking weapon? Just a quick spoiler, it isn't the last that we see of the walking weapon this week on TNA Impact for sure, but he left off without saying anything else really. Back into the zone though, Frankie Kazarian, Ryan Nemeth had a great match. Kazarian is such a, again, he was underutilized in AEW to a degree. He is so good at what he does. He's such a great in-ring performer. Ryan Nemeth is, again, someone that's, he's got a lot of good stuff going about him as well. Obviously, the brother of Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, who's a great athlete in the WWE and in TNA, and the TNA champion, of course. And these two together have such great chemistry in what they do. I really enjoy watching Kazarian's matches and Ryan Nemeth's matches, and they're so well matched in the ring, and it up a very good, very good match. And actually, the end of this match was really great. Kazarian slingshots Nemeth from the ring apron outside of the ring over the ring ropes into a perfectly timed cutter that they then picked up. So not only did they have a great match, it was a brilliant finishing spot in the match. And this just goes to prove my point in how good Kazarian and how good Ryan Nemeth is. And more of those, please. Obviously, Kazarian is the self-proclaimed king of TNA, and he did pick up the victory on this occasion. But two great athletes in this great match on Impact. But I did say we hadn't seen the last of the walking weapon tonight on Impact. No, sir. And as the match wraps up, Kazarian goes off to say something off on the mic about how he is the king of TNA. And as he heads to the back, Mr. Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander himself, emerges and he picks up Ryan Nemeth, hitting him with the C4. He doesn't say a word again, but funnily enough, he does. The fans chant, no, hey, goodbye at him as he walks out of the arena. Not quite sure what his B in Josh Alexander's bonnet is, but he's taking it out on Ryan Nemeth and Joe Hendry at this moment in time. But Walking Weapon is so good, though. I know this change of attitude might not be for everyone, but my oh my, can that guy go in the ring? And he is one of the best to do it, is Josh. And if he is going for Joe Hendry, then that is going to be an interesting one for the prestigious one, Joe Hendry. But what a great match that was. Shame they had to ruin it by attacking Ryan Nemeth at the end. But is Josh Alexander indicating that he wants a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship? We'll find out. Next on the card, some knockouts action again. Jody Fret with Danny Luna, Spitfire, and Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards. And this match was a very strong knockouts match. And I loved this. Again, it was a very good match. It was also a bit of miscommunication in this from Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards as we got near the end of the match. The referee was distracted, and Alicia Edwards wrapped one of the knockouts tag title belts around the middle turnbuckle, but Fret knocked her off the apron and dropped toehold Slamovich face first into the belt, hits the finisher and picks up the victory. So Spitfire back to winning ways, pinning one half of the knockouts tag team champions. Is an opportunity in the air for Spitfire again to reclaim back the knockouts tag team championships, which would then mean the system have nothing. We will see if that match is ever made official, a rematch for the knockouts championships. We will have to see. But big victory for Jody Fret, and she goes on. And again, someone that's improving. We keep mentioning about how people are improving. Jody Fret, fantastic this week on TNA Impact. Looking forward. Hopefully there'll be a match. Now, I did say earlier that Santana and Campaign Singh maybe next week. It was this week. But before we get to that, Joe Hendry was there, and he was talking about fans believing in him, and he needs to continue the support as he continues to ascend the ladder. And he's talking about all the obstacles that he's faced in being somewhat full-time in the NXT TNA takeover. And yes, crossover, sorry, and he is on NXT again this week. But he wants everyone to continue believing, and we will continue to believe in Mr. Joe Hendry. Now, I did mention Mike Santana, Campaign Singh up next. Santana, no surprises on this, but Santana did win. It didn't take long at all on this. He wears out Singh, and then he finished off with the spin the block finisher for an easy pinfall. So it does look like Campaign Singh will need to find another way to prove his loyalty and credibility to Mustafa Ali and the campaign. But we do have some breaking news about Mustafa Ali, and we will talk about that at the end of the show. But Santana, at the end of the match, sends a message to Moose before God, his girl, and his baby. Before God, his girl, and his baby, that he'll become TNA World Champion. So Nick Nemeth has a lot of enemies right now. Obviously, as your champion, you always have the target cemented on your back. And he certainly has, for sure. But he promised first of all that he's going to hurt Moose and make it clear that a hit has been put out on him as of this moment. Interesting time. So he's got a problem to pick with Moose, but he also wants Nick Nemeth and that TNA gold, which brings us nicely onto an incredible main event this week on Impact Wrestling, TNA Impact. Nick Nemeth defeating Mustafa Ali for the title. It was for the main event match, and we still have a wedding, by the way, to go. But this was brilliant. I mean, these two guys are just so good. I mean, TNA main event wrestling, this could have been a pay-per-view wrestling match. This was brilliant. Loved it. These two guys just left it all out on the line for this. But ultimately, even though Ali was being a heel and doing the heel stuff that he does, and he works that heel tactic so well, the danger zone was all it took for Nick Nemeth to wrap up the match this week and retain the TNA World Championship. We will talk Mustafa Ali now. It has come out then that Mustafa Ali has since confirmed his departure from TNA Wrestling. I'm really ashamed to hear this. He looks like he's going back to the Indies. Not quite sure if it's something they can work on together or not, but for now, it looks like it's the last we're going to see. Maybe he's on next week, I don't know, but it looks like it's one of the last times we will see Mustafa Ali in the Impact Zone for now. Real shame. I felt as if he hit his stride really well in this little run that he had with Impact Wrestling. It's a shame it didn't last longer. What is on the horizon for Mustafa Ali? I really don't know. I do wish him very well and all the success in his whatever he decides to do next. That's for sure. So real shame that he's back, that he's leaving. Sorry, but that is what it is for now. Unfortunately, that seems to be the last that we'll see for now of Mustafa Ali in TNA Wrestling. It's wedding time, everyone. Good God. PCO and Steph DeLander's wedding. The Rhino was the best man. Santino Marella was the vicar, whatever you want to call it. Out comes Steph DeLander in an extravagant white dress with a bouquet of flowers. Hanifan on commentary deserves an absolute Oscar. He was getting choked up at how beautiful the scene is. Morella begins his comedy, really, of the English style, presiding over the ceremony. Informed us that the bride and groom have decided to read their own vows. Delanda says that she takes PCO to be his unlawful. So she says that she takes PCO to be his unlawful undead bride, and she promised never to bolt on him nor complain when the electricity bill is really high. She promises to always love him and keep him in stitches with her sense of humor. And she did say how they're meant to be, and she finishes with "till death do us part." Morella tells Pico, not PCO, Pico, that is his turn. PCO at that point lets out a big roar into the microphone. That was it. Oh my God. Delanda puts the ring on PCO's finger. PCO goes to do the same. Oh, this bit kills me. He goes to do the same and he pulls out someone's finger with a ring on it. And he had to take his dead grandmother or something like that. And he pulled out of his, oh my God, it's crazy. The final line of it, obviously, if anyone knows any of the reason why these two shouldn't get married, speak now or forever shut up in your face, as Morella says. And of course, somebody does. You wouldn't be, would it? And it is AJ Francis and Rich Swann of First Class, and Francis assures they're only out to be witnesses to a freak show. They have no intention of spoiling the party. Santino says he's got a certified I can marry you.com and says, normally I'd say you can kiss the bride. He follows up, this is Montreal, so you can French kiss the bride. And just when you think it was all set to be done and dusted and it was going to be a relatively hilarious but calm wedding, of course not. Out comes the indie god, the deathmatch king, Matt Cardona, with a gift in hand with a bow on it. And obviously, Cardona was always with Steph DeLander. He walks right into the ring and reveals his gift was a cinder block, knocks PCO out with it. He tears down the wedding set, and a sad-looking DeLander watches on as Cardona stops from leaving the ring. He's back in and snatches DeLander by the hand. He tries yanking her forcefully out of the ring, but she freaks out off mic about being her day and questioning why he's done it to her. And he said to me, he says to her, what are you doing? You're meant to be with me. It's not supposed to be this way. And DeLander was crying in the ring as PCO slowly gets back to his feet. Whew. Wow. That's, I mean, wow. What else can you say but wow? At that point, crazy, crazy, crazy stuff on TNA. That's the way that Impact Wrestling ended this year today with the wedding that kind of, I suppose, happened and didn't. I don't know if they're married or not. But anyway, crazy but great stuff on Impact this week. Obviously, tune into some TNA next week on the TNA Plus app and, of course, AXS TV and DAZN here in the UK. We'll be back with some more review shows, interviews, and everything else. Just follow us on HTT Buckle on Twitter, Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast, and all other social media platforms. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.